For me, it was when I realized I didn't have to pretend anything around her. I can just be myself and she still wants me close. I've never felt that before. Edit. Thanks for all the replies and the wholesome vibes in this thread. I enjoyed reading your answers. Story 1. When you can be silly without feeling foolish, and she is being silly back without being foolish. This was about 6 months in, and we have been together for 4 years now. Story 2. I came from an abusive relationship. She took care of me and fed me when I was at the lowest point in my life. One day we were cleaning her apartment, and I accidentally knocked over a pottery piece she got on one of her travels to South America, and I froze. I was so scared to tell her what happened. She saw the pieces and just looked at me and said, "Baby, it's okay. It's just a thing. I like you more." Something in me just broke. I had walked on eggshells for years, and she just came over and gave me a big hug even though I messed up. That was it. I knew this was my last relationship. We are getting married in a few weeks. Story 3. In 2009, I was going through my desk to find something, and my girlfriend of about 4 months saw my lime green Game Boy Color with blue version Pokemon. She was like, "No way." Being in a fairly new relationship, I was a little reserved and responded, "Yeah, I was feeling nostalgic since I had that as a kid." She cuts me off. "No, really? No way." And she opens her purse and pulls out a lime green Game Boy Color with blue version. We've been married for almost 11 years now. Edit. Forgot to mention the best part. She had a link cable too. Story 4. I remember the exact moment. I had been having a really rough time back in 2019. A close friend of mine passed away, and then I got laid off from a startup I was working at. She took me out to San Francisco, and we had a little picnic and went painting. It might not seem like much, but it was one of the things I've loved the most. Story 5. When I actually started to love my job and got super excited to go to work on the days we both were scheduled for. The last time I got that excited was never. Story 6. She was so loving and supported what I wanted to do with my life, though she wanted me to scale back a bit so we could still be together. I could honestly be myself in my entirety with no judgment. She was the first person I felt calm with and who I said, "I love you" to. She made me feel like the whole world was mine, and I could make her feel like that too. Unfortunately, a year into the relationship, she changed, and her anxiety and depression started to consume her. She was seemingly always looking for proof that I didn't love her. I wasn't allowed to have time to myself anymore. That relationship has since ended. She broke up with me, saying she just fell out of love with me. But there was definitely a time when I felt like the luckiest man in the world, that I was hers and she was mine. Story 7. She quoted Wayne's World at me in bed. I asked her what she wanted to do that evening. She said she had an itinerary: sex, shower, Taco Bell, watch Robin Hood, Men in Tights. I think that's when I fell in love. God, I missed that. Story 8. I knew she was the one when she took me in as a homeless man and gave me shelter so that I could succeed. Now I am working on a Master of Business Administration thanks to her, and she is now my wife. Story 9. For years with my wife, I felt less and less desired as time went on. We worked on our issues, but ultimately I realized that I was never going to be loved as I thought I deserved. I remembered asking myself, "This can't be it, surely?" I decided to call it a day and spent 9 months single before meeting my current girlfriend. With her, it was instant. I was desired, loved, and appreciated in ways I'd previously hoped were possible, but had doubted were the way it actually went in real life. I'm comfortable. I'm satisfied. I'm hopeful. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm so many other things, and that's why I know this relationship is the one that is right for me. Story 10. When I realized that what I wanted and what I needed were the same thing, and that we both knew that a relationship is a constantly evolving and changing thing, we both always give the other the space and support needed to grow individually so we can grow together. I'm a huge proponent of taking care of yourself first. You need to be a bit selfish and put yourself first so you can show up for your partner in the best way possible, and vice versa. I've always hated the whole better half, two halves now a whole nonsense. Everyone is a whole 100% person on their own. Story 11. I screwed up a small but significant task a colleague asked me to help with while I was on holiday with my girlfriend for a joint birthday party within my family. I screwed up so badly I thought I would be fired and even contemplated resigning. It put a real downer on my enjoyment of the whole holiday. But what improved my mood immensely was my girlfriend listening to my explanation of what had happened and then responding, "Don't worry, we'll get through this." At that point, we'd only been together a few months, and she could have easily said Yule instead. We've been together 3.5 years now, and I can't see myself with anyone else. Story 12. Saw me at my absolute worst and was just kind and supportive. This was before we were together and were just friends. That made me fall. Decades of marriage later, I can confidently say I chose wisely. Story 13. I'm shy by nature, but when we got together, she saw my true side, loving to laugh and do silly things. She stood by my side and tried really hard to get into things I like, such as history and games, things she never really explored before. Just like that, I now know she's the girl I want to marry. Story 14. When I realized she was mature enough to express herself in a healthy way, while also being able to be emotionally supportive to me, that and being able to understand and accept when I am trying to diffuse emotional tension. There is nothing worse for interpersonal communication than when your partner recognizes your attempts at lightening the mood in an argument and tries to manipulate you with it. They see it as you being uncomfortable and vulnerable and want to make it worse for attention or whatever. Story 15. Met my wife at a party of our mutual friends. We were both there super early. She was standing by the fire I had just started. I asked her to dance, and she happily agreed, 1 point in her favor. I began talking to her while we danced, the usual stuff you ask and talk about when you just meet someone. Nothing special. As more people arrived, including many of her close friends, she never left my side. Our friends just joined us and kept it going. At some point during the night of us talking, I realized this woman was amazing. Her jokes were funny. She was intelligent and a hard worker. Most of all, she was a fan of the same sports team as I was. This was a big deal because we live in a place that hates this team. When I found out she was a fan was when I told her that I loved her. I had known her for 2 hours by this point. Story 16. I don't currently have a girlfriend, but I do have a girlfriend who I'm very comfortable around and am not afraid to make goofy faces or act dumb around. We hang out a good amount and have known each other for more than 10 years, and though we'd probably never be compatible in a relationship, I really enjoy our friendship. Story 17. The first time we met up after years of being out of touch, we sat and talked for 6 hours straight, and it felt like maybe 30 minutes had gone by. We just fit together so perfectly. Story 18. I used to watch these stupidly funny claymation videos on YouTube called Knox Cornerback in high school and didn't think anyone besides my friend group knew about it. I was 26 when I started to date my fiancée, and I found out she was obsessed with the same videos. No one else understood the references she and I would make, and that's when I knew she was the one for me. She was able to understand a certain part of me that no woman had ever before. Story 19. When she fought through her own personal anxiety to send me a 3-page text in the middle of the night to tell me she wanted a real relationship with me and not to remain friends, and explained her reasons for taking so long to come to that conclusion. She knew I wanted to have an actual relationship with her basically since we met. She had been clear it wasn't what she was looking for, as she was going through a lot at the time. I was fine with that, and we remained friends, frequently chatting and sharing a lot of interests. I had mentioned to her that I was looking for a committed relationship and that I had an interest in potentially dating another girl. Well, she realized she didn't want that, but she also had a weird anxiety about being rejected by me because she didn't realize she wanted more right away. She didn't even read my enthusiastic response until the next day. We have been together 10 years now. Story 20. When I realized I could be completely open and myself with him, in return he loved what he saw. 15 years into our relationship, I feel the same. He is the only person who really knows me, and he is still my dream man, still makes my knees weak just by looking at me. Story 21. I am heavily influenced by the people I keep close to me. If you are negative, it brings me down. Over the years, I learned to keep those types of people out of my life. So when I met my wife, it only took a few weeks for me to fall for her. She is so positive, compassionate, and adventurous. Whenever I am down or stressed, she is there for me. If she is happy and energetic, her energy rubs off onto me. The cherry on top is my family absolutely loves her. That is when you know you picked a winner. Story 22. Realized I don't have to apologize for all the dumb stuff that was supposedly bad in previous relationships, like going to bed early or not answering my phone for 30 minutes or stuff like this. Story 23. When the thought of breaking up with her made me question how successful I would be in life without her. I'm halfway through a master's degree now, and I can confidently say that without her in my life, I may never have applied. She is more than just my best friend. She is the key to unlocking my full potential. Story 24. For me, it was recently. I didn't have any plans for my life, but once I met her, it was like right away I was starting to plan a life next to her. Where will we go? What would we want for ourselves? Will she want to have children? This is something that neither she nor I wanted before we met each other. To sum it up, when I can see myself in the future with her and when the love I feel is so unconditional. Her name is Carla, and I love her to the very bone. To be honest, I thought I wouldn't find someone like her. She's simply amazing. Story 25. Honestly, today I still live with my parents. They are emotionally abusive at best, and have damaged my mental health to the point that I've gotten used to wanting to harm myself. If that weren't enough, I've been stuck in an awful job and will take the Brazilian equivalent to the bar exam next Sunday. I'm extremely stressed out, overworked, anxious, and overall depressed for a while now. About an hour ago, I found myself crying my heart out in my boyfriend's arms. I told him I saw no reason to carry on and that I could not do this anymore. We'll be spending this year's Christmas at our own place. That was it. That was all it took. That man said the one thing he knew would make me want to carry on living. I absolutely love Christmas. The idea of spending it with him and our dog, at our own place with our own Christmas tree, is all that's keeping me going right now. And that's more than enough. I'll marry him. Just you wait and see. Story 26. My girlfriend is very, very shy. A true introvert. But she would do things for me that took her right out of her element because she knew I would enjoy something. That's when I knew. Story 27. For me, it was when I noticed. We can go for hours without texting and not feel anxious that I haven't heard from her. Seeing and feeling how understanding she is, and how patient she is with me. When we're frustrated with each other, we don't bicker back and forth. We talk it out, even if that means waiting a bit before we're able to articulate it properly. When she's in the wrong, she will own up to it and apologize. She genuinely makes me want to be a better person, an effect that no other girlfriend has had on me. Story 28. I've had issues with erectile dysfunction. My previous girlfriend heavily personalized it. She would take it personally even though I still very much found her attractive. It made me feel even worse about a situation I already felt terrible about. When I was with my current girlfriend, and it happened the very first time we had sex, without missing a beat, she looked into my eyes and said, "Stop hating yourself. Look at me, I'm not offended. We can do something else." Then she smiled at me and said, "I'm just happy to be here with you right now." Just like that, I was in love. Story 29. Have you ever heard that a significant number of relationships are broken off and then the couple gets back together and marries? I can confirm this myself in one case. We are going to get married. We met 5 years ago, dated on and off, stopped talking, and started dating again 1 year ago. Story 30. I knew from the start that he was different. He didn't scream at me when I did something wrong. He always tried to calmly discuss it when something was wrong. Coming from a somewhat abusive background, it took me years to not try to fight. I am much calmer now, can deal with anger and adversity way better, and learn to accept mistakes because he accepted mine. He dealt with my depression and anxiety and never once made me feel bad about my feelings or my million ADHD hobbies. He was just there for me unconditionally. I used to think it was because I would never let any man tell me what to do. But I can for sure say this man supported all my crazy ideas. And when he needed to critique me, he never made me feel bad or stupid. He just lays out facts and still lets me decide. It took me years to learn that this was a healthy relationship, but I still knew that he was the one. Story 31. Much like everyone else, I was at an extremely low point in my life. I had just gotten out of the mental hospital. I was doing drugs, was a borderline alcoholic, and was letting people use my body so I felt like I was good for something. At an event I went to, I found out the day after that someone had accused me of raping them at the event. I didn't. Before the accusation, I had only spoken to my now partner a few times on Snapchat. But he messaged me right as I was about to break down. I hardly knew him, and he was one of the few people who hadn't turned on me, so I told him everything. I just let it all out because I never had to speak to him again afterward. But that's not what happened. He believed me. He comforted me. He told me everything would be okay. And he was right. About a week after that, we met in real life at a mall and hung out. We knew we were from the same city, and we were both real. We just never spoke. The chemistry was undeniable. It's really hard to explain, but after being in enough relationships that aren't meant to be, you'll recognize that this one feels different. Feels right. You'll know how to communicate. You'll know how to help each other. And you'll feel completely safe around them. You'll feel like you never have to keep a single secret from them. They know you better than you know yourself. You know that if there's ever a problem, you'll always be able to figure it out together. And when you fall down, they've picked you back up before you even hit the floor. I love him so much, and I couldn't see myself spending a single day without him.